For 50 years, Hope and Healing has been a beacon of light for survivors of domestic abuse and sexual violence in Summit and Medina counties. To be in the community for 50 years serving survivors is a great milestone for this organization. Back in 1974, in the early 1970s, when a lot of the programs across the country had opened their doors to survivors, it was without any funding. And a lot of those organizations are closed today. To be able to still be in this community, having a space where survivors can access services, that's something worth celebrating. Although we wish we didn't have to exist, it is an honor to be in a community for this long, to be able to make sure that survivors are able to heal and move forward in their lives.
As the director of the Ohio Alliance to End Sexual Violence and being able to see the growth of Hope and Healing through the 50-year history of the movement, as well as organization in Ohio, it's been impactful and it's been pivotal for the actual eradication of sexual violence in the state of Ohio, especially in this community and county. We've also seen how Hope and Healing has evolved and has been, again, pivotal in reference to what does it truly mean to meet survivors where they're at, not only in gender, but also in race, abilities, and actually being able to be a true reflection of the community in which they are hubbed in.
Hope and Healing really has done a lot of good. It has encountered many challenges. It has went through so much change from being a very closed location to being open. And it really has had an impact on many lives.
Summit County and Medina County are really unique. In 2005, the Rape Crisis Center and the Battered Women's Shelter, their programs merged together to better serve survivors. And it was really important that they did that because oftentimes survivors from domestic violence, they experience sexual violence within the dating and abusive relationships, as well as what we know is some survivors of sexual assault have also experienced domestic violence. So we don't want survivors to have to pick which one of their traumas that they're going to seek services for, so they can come to one place that can help them navigate, the trauma they've experienced between the different victimizations.
Hope and Healing started off as a volunteer rape crisis center 50 years ago and has, over the last 50 years, expanded its services to reach domestic violence survivors as well in Summit County and then into Medina County, and then to even expand our reach to make sure that we were reaching the marginalized communities within our counties, I think was a big deal. So I think just expanding from, a very small rape crisis center into, two agencies to be able to try to serve all of the survivors of gender-based crimes here was a great journey for the organization in the past 50 years.
The role that Hope and Healing has played in our continuum of care is monumental. Survivors who are in crisis and need access to housing and services. There's not any other partner in our community that can provide the level of support, trauma-informed support to our population.
Well, it's continued growth. I mean, going from just, Summit County to now Summit and Medina County, in growing out of the old shelters into the new shelters. And, the continued support within the community also. It's not just within the walls of the shelters, it's the support that the organization has been able to adapt and support even Akron U and the students there. So to me, it's really the continued growth that I've seen over the time I've been here.
And so I remember this one woman came in and I could sense the tension. I could see the tension. And over the weeks, from the support that was given at the shelter, from the guidance that was given at the shelter, and for her being actively involved in the programs, I began to see a change. I especially remember the day that she found housing and was able to move out. And she hugged all of us and thanked all of us and said that had it not been for what she received at this shelter, she wasn't sure if she would have made it.
As a survivor leader, I really try to make sure that I center and that the organization center survivors in all of our decision making processes. And it's really thinking about, like what didn't I have when I wanted to seek services and try to identify those things and help other people achieve that by implementing programming that reaches all survivors and it's not one survivor.
So I have been a nurse for 20 years, and I've had an opportunity to almost work with Hope and Healing for 15 years. And I've really seen the growth and expansion. And I think it's really recognizable for us to see that they are always available. They have an advocate available for us. And I know there's other healthcare systems in the community. So I've never had a patient go without support system.
We have also been able to expand our hotline services, where now, to keep up with the demand in services, we are able to have a fully staffed hotline room 24/7 on site every day of the year to be available to provide a higher level of crisis response through the hotline and provide survivors with that safety planning and immediate connection to our vital resources.
Hope and Healing has given me so much hope. I know it sounds cliche, but it honestly has given me so much hope, right? My whole time here has been a process of healing, rejuvenation, a time to recover, a time to rejoice, a time to just to transition. What they're doing here and what they have offered me personally in this journey has been astronomical. And I cannot say thank you enough.
Over the last 50 years, the organization has achieved a lot of progress and a lot of growth, but the work is not done. We still need the support of the community so that we can continue to support survivors in the way that they need and that they deserve. And we need partners in joining us in our vision to eradicate these crimes in our communities.
So there are many things that we have done, that we are doing, and that we are going to continue to do and need to do in order to protect victims. First of all, the Violence Against Women Act was a landmark piece of legislation introduced several decades ago that undergoes authorization every 5 years. We just authorized that a couple of years ago, but ensuring that there is a framework, that there is a legislation that identifies crimes and penalties for perpetrators, but also allowing there to be a legal framework by which that we can say this is not acceptable behavior and this is how we're going to protect victims. Victims of Crime Act is also an incredibly important piece of legislation, particularly for providing funding for agencies like the Hope and Healing Center, who are able to house and to feed and provide job training and services so folks can get on their feet.
I think the most important thing is for the community to educate themselves about the programs and services that Hope and Healing have to offer here to our community. A lot of times, a lot of organizations don't have that name recognition. So the community could help by educating themselves about who you are and what you do, by being a financial supporter of your organization, and to continue to be an advocate for you throughout this community.
Well, I'll first start by saying congratulations, Hope and Healing. You all are doing amazing work. We would not be able to do this without you all. And if you're somebody in the community that is looking for a way to get behind a worthy cause, donate. And, volunteer and get involved in the community because it's really transformative work.
50 years of an organization that was born out of necessity. And unfortunately, we're going into another 50 years where we continue to be a necessity. And so I just want to say thank you to everyone that came before me, that came before our leadership team, that was able to make something like Hope and Healing Survivor Resource Center be available